This is TeamWayfinder interviewing Steve Staley, the voice of Neji Hyuga from Naruto, Toshiro Hitsugaya from Bleach, Kadaj from Advent Children, and most recently,
Hoka Inamuta of Hanoji Academy.
It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So, how did you get into voice acting?
I went to college to study theater here in Southern California. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. And after graduation, I went to Chapman University in Orange County. I moved up here to Los Angeles to start pursuing my acting career, TV commercials and on camera sitcoms and hour-longs. And a friend of mine said, let's take a voiceover workshop. And I was like, okay, I bet I'd be pretty good at that. Let's do it. So we took this workshop out of a lady's kitchen for 6 weeks. And at the end of it, I was like, you know what? I think I'm pretty good at this. I should pursue this further. And so I had a demo tape made and continued to take classes and meet people. And at a certain point, there was gravity. And I met a couple of people who introduced me to a couple of people who at the time were producing a lot of dubbing and anime, probably around like 1995 or 1996, maybe. And so if you recall, at the time, there was just so much content, one show after another coming out. And that's what got me into dubbing per se. And then voiceovers in general, like, radio commercials, TV commercials, original animation, and so on comes with the territory.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer games, anime, or commercial?
To be completely honest, at this point, after, 16 or 17 years of doing this, I don't really think of it as any different, because from my perspective, I drive to a place, I go into a room, they all are pretty much the same, a padded room for crazy actor. There's a music stand with a piece of paper on it, and my job is to act out the lines. So I don't want that to sound indifferent, but honestly, the job is not ever different. I go in and I use my skills to interpret lines that are on a page. So in many ways, it doesn't matter to me what that is. I have a job to do, and that's how I do it. And what matters more to me in the real time of it is who I'm working with, how long I've known them, do we get along, do we have fun at the studio, are there snacks, how far did I have to drive to get there? I know that all sounds kind of boring, but in the real time of what it is for me to get through my day, that's what's more important to me. Like if I'm driving all over Los Angeles and I have to get to a session by 4 o'clock and I've got auditions in the morning, that's what's more important. But it is fun to dig into characters and figure something out and try to come up with the most interesting characterization possible. Although you understand, in particular in dubbing or in anime, it's more director-driven than it is talent-driven. Like, I have to do what they want me to do more than I get to do what I want to do, if that makes sense. I guess that's true in all voiceovers.
What's some of your favorite characters to voice, and why?
Well, you gotta love a show like Naruto, and you gotta love a show like Bleach, because where else can you be on an anime that lasts a job for 7 years? So I love those characters. I like Bleach because I have fun with the fact that I get to play those two completely different characters, Hitsugaya and Hisagi. And I love the differentiation between the two, and it's always fun because they almost always have a scene where they overlap, and as I'm doing one recording session, I'm acting with myself and another voice, and that's always fun, interesting.
What's some funny moments in the booth?
It takes me a few times to get pronunciation sometimes, and so I have created a lot of interesting bloopers over the years of me trying to pronounce Japanese names, and then once I think I get it pronounced correctly, then I have incorrectly accented the wrong syllable, so that if I were to say Hanoji Academy versus Honoji Academy, things like that. And it always makes me laugh. I have a really awesome blooper of Daigyoren Maru that I can never get out years ago. And, we crack up, because at this point, everyone I'm working with are people that I've known for years. And like I said earlier, for us, it's just about being in that room together. And so that always is hysterical.
How was it voice acting for Kill la Kill?
Kill la Kill is brand new. And I have to say I hadn't heard of it, but when I was at work, they were letting me know that it's a big deal. And truthfully, I've only been in twice. The first time, I didn't have very many lines at all, so I didn't get a sense of the show. And I just went in last week and had a little bit more lines and got a greater sense of the show. But we're very much at the beginning. And as you know, in dubbing, I'm only in there for the time that I'm in there, and I only see the parts that I'm in. So I'm waiting for it to unfold so that I can see what it is about that show too. One of the things from a technical standpoint that I love is his mouth is covered up by that collar so much that I don't have to worry about sync as often as I would on another character.
That's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, it makes it go a lot quicker when I can just act that line out kind of the way I want to act it out, rather than worrying about hitches and stops and pauses and so on. Plus, I always love characters with a kind of attitude.
Does it give you ease in mind and, ease of wallet when you come in to record for stuff like Bleach and Naruto?
On one hand, yes, and on another hand, no. Is that a good enough answer?
I'll take it.
There are other jobs in show business and voiceovers that pay significantly more money. But what's great about Bleach and Naruto, for example, is that those come up and have for 7 years. And when you are an actor, what you're trying to do is compile as much jobs as possible so that you can pay your bills, basically. And so those jobs come along, and I never take them for granted because, your question is about money. Those pay money, and all money is the same color green.
Definitely got you there. Do you have any tips for aspiring voice actors?
I think truly, other than talent, figuring out how to act, how to read off of a page, because, we're not memorizing lines, we're not rehearsing. We go into that booth and sometimes in a half an hour have to hit 25 lines. So improv talent, reading talent is important. And then the business side of business, which is getting to know people, shaking hands, pressing the flesh. If people don't know who you are, they can't hire you, Just being a salesman.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts?
I do have a final thought. This is going to make you laugh. Last night, I was getting a gallon of milk at the grocery store across the street from my house. And as I'm walking home, there's this couple, and they were trying to park their car. And the husband got out, and he was saying, "Oh, no, we're a couple of feet in the red. And I don't know, I think we should move the car." And I said, "But no. I was going to say, in my mind's eye, I thought, no, you should say to them, it's okay. That's only a foot. You're going to be fine." But I didn't say it. And I looked at them and thought, oh, that cute intellectual husband, he's doing his thing with his wife. Then they repark the car, and they get out, and they start walking down the sidewalk. And I look at them, and before I can say anything or not say anything, I realized that it was Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt parked right in front of my house. And what's funny is I've known them for years, but they were in the midst of a conversation with their friends, and they had bottles of wine, and they were obviously headed somewhere, probably to Kylie Bear's house, because he lives across the street from me too. And I walked past, and before I knew it, I was 10 feet beyond, and they were in the middle of a conversation, and I never said anything, which is funny because I'm good friends with them, but there they were in the middle of their life, and I had this whole interaction and didn't realize until the very end that it was Yuri. So that's my funny story. That just happened last night in the street in front of my very own house.
That's fantastic.
I know, I love it. And I feel bad that I didn't say anything, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you were... there I was 10 feet beyond when I was like, wait a minute, that was Yuri and Tara. And then I thought, if I turn around and go, Yuri, then we got to have a whole, they were on their way, and I didn't want to bother them. So I'll tell them when I see them again in the next week or two. So that's my funny story.
It's been great having you on. Thanks for coming.